Wild Hunter is one of only 2 classes in this game that rely on a mount to do most of their skills. They just got reworked, but their core identity is still focused around straightforward attacking directly in front of you, your Jaguar assisting with said attacks, and honestly not having too much in the way of mobbing. They're mostly focused on bossing, even more so after their rework, but they can still train just fine. You're here to learn more about them, and I'm here to explain more about them. So let's just jump right into explaining all their skills. Starting off with the Resistance Link skill. Spirit of Freedom gives you extra seconds of invincibility every time you're revived in a boss fight. At max level, that's 12 whole seconds with each revive. Really good Link skill for survivability, and one of my personal favorites. Now let's go over all the mobility skills. A double flash jump that also has an up jump tacked onto it, and Predator's Pounce is a fun little teleport. Click it once to mark a nearby enemy, and click again to teleport right on top of that enemy. After teleporting, you can then bounce off the enemy once per teleport with this follow-up skill, Footstool. Hold down and click Pounce again to mark a different enemy to constantly hop to. Practically no cooldown, and 10-minute duration per time you mark an enemy. It's just a really good and fun teleporting skill. There's also White Heat Rush, which is a 2-direction dash in the air, or goes forward horizontally only on the ground. Either way, it deals some damage to enemies in its path. Right-clicking the skill icon makes it so you can use White Heat Rush even while not on your Jaguar. I guess Backstep also counts as a mobility skill. While it doesn't move you, it is however a toggle that forces you to face one direction, no matter which way you move or jump. It can even be used while dismounted, making Wild Hunter the only class in the game that can natively moonwalk. You'll want to use this mainly for repositioning and bossing, while still facing the boss to attack them as you retreat or move around. Since your main method of attacking is with straightforward crossbow attacks, this fits nicely. Speaking of crossbow attacks, Wild Arrow Blast, Proto, Detonation, and Shattershot are your 1st through 3rd attacks that all get outclassed and fully replaced at 4th job, with Apex, combining the effects of the prior 3 and now letting you move around while holding down the attack. You can even flash jump around while using it, and does more damage to normal enemies. Wild Hunter also gets a couple placedown summons. Trap Seed places mines in the area around it and detonates them upon contact with enemies. 5 seconds in between new mine placements, and 1 minute summon duration. No cooldown. Lure Beacon very simply draws in aggro, taunting nearby enemies to go towards it. Also a 1 minute duration with no cooldown. Your Jaguar, whose name is Ashley by the way, hi Ashley, has their own skills, with the monikers Assist and Command. Currently, you only get one command skill, Alpha Surge, which sends a Spirit Jaguar forward in front of you, damaging enemies, 20-second cooldown. You'll get more command skills at later job ranks, but what's neat about command attacks is you can simultaneously use them while also using any of your crossbow attacks. As for the assist skills, those automatically come out while you attack with any of your crossbow skills and damage enemies you're fighting. Each assist skill shares a 2.5 second cooldown in between each next assist activating, and they constantly appear in the same order of Rending Swipe, Snapping Fangs, and Skull Bash. These assist skills get further enhanced with this passive, Another Bite, that makes stacks on enemies you attack through your assist and command skills, with said enemies able to accrue up to a maximum of 50 stacks. Each stack does bonus damage only when attacking with crossbow attacks. In short, it's basically a debuff that'll constantly keep reappearing and being consumed just so long as you keep attacking with Apex. While we're here talking about passives, Final Attack and Advanced Final Attack give a chance to deal an extra line of damage with each crossbow attack you do. Soul Arrow gives you infinite arrows that never get consumed, and then there's all these other ones for various stat boosting effects. All that's really left to go over are the buffs. Technically this one is the iframe, but anyways. Feline Berserk makes you invincible for a couple seconds, 70-second cooldown. Call of the Wild is an insanely good party buff, giving percent attack and magic attack to you and everyone else in your party for 5 minutes and no cooldown. Passively for you, it also gives some defensive stats and mana. Sharp Eyes is also a party buff, giving crit rate and crit damage to you and everyone else in your party. There's also Maple Warrior and Hero's Will, but you probably already knew that. Hyperskills fill in some gaps for Wild Hunter. Not in the case of For Liberty though. It's just a damage buff for you and all other Resistance members in your party that lasts for 1 minute and has a cooldown of 2 minutes. Volt Snare, however, is your class bind. Pretty big hitbox, stuns for 10 seconds, 2-minute cooldown as expected. Titan Pounce is another command skill that can be used during any other crossbow skill attacks. It simply summons a big kitty to pounce on enemies in front of you and deals a fat wad of damage, 20-second cooldown. Hyper passives feel pretty obvious as in terms of what you want to get. Starting with Wild Aeroblast Apex, get Reinforce, ignore Guard Break and Spread. Your IED is fine as is, same with your mobbing potential. Apex is still a really good skill both while grinding and bossing, so that's why Reinforce is worth investing in at least. Now on to assist passives. These attacks will be coming out near constantly every 2.5 seconds or so Reinforce and Boss Rush for increased damage is a no-brainer. Spread is unnecessary, you don't need more mobbing lines. Lastly, we got another bite, Reinforce and Boss Rush. The bonus damage from these attacks massively outweighs the potential ignored enemy defense you'd get from Guard Break on just this debuff passive stack skill. So, in short, ignore everything that increases mobs hit, or IED to just those skills. Damage and boss damage all the way. Fifth job is almost entirely for boss bursting purposes. Primal Bloom is a buff that makes you invincible for 10 seconds and lasts for a bit longer past that iframe time. While it's active, as indicated by the whole map and background changing colors and such, your assist skills cooldowns are lowered to activate every 1.5 seconds, and they all pop at the same time every time one activates. Additionally, your command skill cooldowns are lowered, and another bite stacks also proc when attacking with your crossbow skills. If you didn't like the whole background and foreground changing appearance, you can disable that by right-clicking the skill icon. 2-minute cooldown. Command Predator's Eye is your third and final command skill. Like the others, it can be used during crossbow skills, and is practically a map wipe, obliterating enemies. 20-second cooldown. Overbite is a passive that activates specifically only on bosses, upon reaching 60 another bite stacks. When it does activate after doing so, you're invincible for 1 to 2 seconds, a big purple chomp appears on your screen, the stacks are consumed, and the boss takes a nice chunk of damage. No cooldown, so proc it as often as you can. Wild Aeroblast Overdrive is a hold down burst hurricane that rapid fires in front of you, reducing damage taken for its 3 to 4 second duration. You can move around during it, but not jump like you can with Apex. 2-minute cooldown. Shared skills starting with Shared Resistance. Maple World Goddess's Blessing is just a buff that makes Maple Warrior's stat bonuses better, as well as gives you a slight damage buff. 1-minute duration, 2-minute cooldown. Resistance Infantry brings forth the Squad to open fire at enemies on either side of them. Clicking this skill again repositions them. 15-second duration, 1-minute cooldown. And now the Shared Archer skills. I love both of them. The most iconic of the two in my opinion is Guided Arrow, which is a toggle that stays on forever and never goes away until you disable it or log off. It simply attacks enemies as you attack, tearing through them and doing damage. Extra damage against normal enemies too, so it's pretty good for grinding. Vicious Shot is a crazy good burst buff that takes all of your critical rate, including anything in excess past the cap of 100%, and converts a percentage of it into critical damage for 30 seconds. This is the reason people always push for getting as much crit rate as they possibly can on archers. It's insanely good. 30-second duration, 2-minute cooldown. In terms of priority, for the skills you want to max out first, Primal Bloom is your main burst damage, so that above all else. Past that, Command Predator's Eye, then Overbite, and lastly, Wild Aeroblast Overdrive. Really, they are all good, so in my opinion the order doesn't matter too much, but you get a much more noticeable benefit from Primal Bloom. Sixth job doesn't change much from your previous job ranks, both Hexa Masteries wise and 5th job skill upgrades wise. 5th job skills and masteries alike just get final damage boosts. The one exception is Hexa Apex, whose explosion cooldown goes from 1.5 seconds to 1.2 seconds. Synchronous Hunt is the origin skill, and it's a fairly basic one. You're invincible during its long animation, it binds the boss, does a load of damage, 6-minute cooldown. Lastly, Gearstorm is the Ascent, and yeah, pretty basic as well. Deals a load of damage, makes you invincible during its animation, and 4-minute cooldown outside of bosses, or 3 charges inside boss fights. Honestly, Wild Hunter doesn't have much in the way of complications to lay out. There's some, but nothing that'll prevent people from quickly mastering this class. So, without further ado, let's make them easy. Never forget that Apex is your main damaging skill, and that you can cast mostly everything else from your kit while holding it down. Up jumps, flash jumps, your command skills, even your backstep. Speaking of backstep, it might help putting that in your buff favorites through settings under the UI tab, so you always know when it's active. You don't want to accidentally click it on or off when you least expect it, and then lose out on damage from not facing the correct way towards enemies or bosses. That would suck. For grinding, it'll be a slight struggle until you get Soul Janus for more map coverage, but even still, Trapseed covers a wide area across multiple platforms, alongside Erda Fountain. Also, Command Predator's Eye is a fairly large attack that's practically a map wipe that you're able to use every 20 seconds. Past that, just hold down Apex and fire off at nearby enemies wherever your placedown summons aren't located. For bossing, first off, yeah, your party buffs. Those are nice to just give to your party. Lure Beacon is broken in the best way possible. No matter if you're in a party or rolling solo, if it's a boss that moves around to any degree, toss it down and the boss will just ignore you almost entirely. If you're in range of their attacks, they'll still use them, but if you needed a breather, just summon it and run away for a whole minute if you felt like it. This even works on bosses people easily get annoyed at, such as Virasilla and Black Mage. If Lure Beacon is out, you don't really exist to them for the most part. As mentioned before, Backstep is incredibly useful for keeping your onslaught facing the boss, even while you need to move around or away from them to weave through their attacks. It's not so vital that you need it on constantly, or that you need to toggle between it off and on for optimal damage, but utilizing it is a damage increase once you get used to it. Past that, Wild Hunter's damage throughout bossing is real simple. You're just going to be holding down Apex through most of it, while tossing out command skills off cooldown. Try to remember saving them 20 seconds before your burst periods, but otherwise, yeah, slap them command keys as often as possible. Wild Hunter's got a few iframes, one of which is part of their burst, technically also one from their Ascent and Origins, another passively coming out through 5th Job's Overbite as you build up 60 stacks by casting assisting command skills, and the actual on-demand dedicated one, Feline Berserk. Worth remembering at least Feline Berserk when you need it in a pinch, but the others could prove useful too if you play your cards right. Cooldown Hat is in an odd spot for Wild Hunter. For optimal damage it's recommended to get one, but apparently not worth bothering with until you get at minimum -4 seconds on it. This is a pretty high goal for people to achieve, so I'll leave that just as a footnote as something to keep in mind as people still play around with and figure out this class and how its rework fares differently over here in GMS. If you just wanted to play Wild Hunter casually, don't fret over this at all. You can get by without one, but just know it's a damage boost if you were to invest in one. Now for sequences. A buff setup will consist of Sharp Eyes, Call of the Wild, and whatever decent skills you have and or wanted to use. I toss Echo of Hero onto my buff sequences because it's got a short cooldown and a long duration, and I don't want to forget to use it personally. For your 2-minute burst, toss on For Liberty, Mape World Goddess's Blessing, Vicious Shot, Primal Bloom, and AB Link. If you have one, an Ozring fits in here too, preferably Ring of Restraint. It's not required to have Sharp Eyes on here, but I find it can help if you forget to buff and it's not on for whatever reason, just to ensure that Vicious Shot goes through properly and gets its maximum bonuses it can. Anyways, a 1-minute burst sequence will just simply be AB Link, and whatever filler skills you wanted to toss on alongside it to cast it faster. Honestly, you can get away with just having AB Link on its own button nowadays, but if you wanted a sequence for it, just do whatever with any 1-minute skills you had. If you have a weapon jump ring to swap on for the 1-minute burst, you can do that too. Link skills. Grinding setup consists of Evan for rune duration, Aran for combo orb XP, Mercedes for flat XP gained, optionally Lara and Ho-Young for extra normal enemy damage, and a larger first hit on enemies with max health. And then the rest of them gaps you can fill in with whatever else increases your damage. A layout like this. Bossing, on the other hand, will look a bit different from other classes. Because you have a slight stake in getting oodles of crit rate, it's wise to get any of those links that boost it. Phantom, Explorer Archers, and Lyn are the main perpetrators here. You could either choose to get all of them purely for Vicious Shot increases, or just 1 or 2 of them if you wanted space for other links. As always, AB Link is a must-have for everybody nowadays, and past that, anything that boosts your damage is good in just about any order. If you wanted extra survivability, Ren's Link is nice for reduced max health damage. A layout aiming for something like this is good. Inner ability is really straightforward, starting with a bossing setup. First line boss damage, second and third lines crit rate and abnormal status damage. Boss and abnormal status are just raw power boosts, and crit rate is tailored specifically for making Vicious Shot better. Settles as always include buff duration, specifically to extend AB Link, or flat attack for everything you do. A grinding setup will be the usual gold standard of drop, meso, and normal monster damage. Trinodes are really simple. 10 to choose from, and you want 9 of those 10. The only one you want to avoid getting is Wild Aeroblast, Proto/Detonation/Shatter Shot. That's your previous job's attacks that you never use once you get Wild Aeroblast Apex. All the other Trinodes are skills you and your kitty use throughout everything you do, so yeah, makes sense. Look out! It's time to explain Burst! Make sure you're buffed up and that Guided Arrow is toggled on, and that you have Trap Seed out around the boss. Free damage. Now starting with the main burst sequence, up every 2 minutes. If you're binding the boss, do that right at the start, either with Urda Nova or Volt Snare. Then, pop your main burst sequence, place down Resistance Infantry, hold down Overdrive for 3 to 4 seconds, press all 3 of your command attacks while still holding Overdrive, then cycle back into instead using Apex. Keep using your command attacks whenever they come off cooldown. That is it. Mini burst up every 1 minute is the exact same, just without overdrive, and instead using your mini burst button if you set one of those up. As for your origin burst, it too is the same as your main burst. Just pop your origin right after holding down overdrive. That is it. Honestly very similar to Ren in terms of simplicity. New Wild Hunter post rework is honestly more fun than I was expecting. As someone that pointlessly was spending the better half of the past month slow grinding my pre-rework Wild Hunter up to 260, I'm familiar enough with the old version of this class, and they really improved upon a lot of my personal gripes with them that I feel that they addressed and directly fixed. I could go on, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Thanks for watching, I hope this guide helped you out in any way, and as always, thanks to the Wild Hunter Discord for the instant up-to-date info regarding this rework. If you have any thoughts, opinions, suggestions for what videos you want to see from me in the future, shoot your shot down in the comments. I got other video ideas in the pipeline, slated for the very near future, so subscribe if you wanted to see those when they come out. Until next time, that's all.